Good morning and welcome to our Sunday morning service. We are so glad you're here. There are many things happening at Unity Temple and we would love for you to be part of them. Please stop by the welcome table in the foyer after service for more information, or you can go to our website at www.unitytemple.org and fill out a visitor form. We'll be sure to follow up with you next week, and we hope you enjoy the service.
She goes first? Oh, never mind. Let's try this again. Good morning. See, now it's my turn. My name is Michael Weeks, and I use he, him pronouns, and I serve on your Board of Trustees. It is my pleasure to welcome you here this morning. If you are here for the first time, thank you for joining us. We look forward to getting to know you. We invite everyone present in the sanctuary today to join in our in-person community time immediately following the service. Our online Zoom community time will happen right after the service. The link can be found in the e-beacon or Saturday's email, or you can send an email to tlewis@unitytemple.org to request the link. We appreciate everyone wearing a mask over your mouth and nose during the service as a way to protect each other. If you find yourself needing a break from wearing your mask, we invite you out to the patio and come back when you're ready. Each week, we remind ourselves of our congregation's core values: connection, transformation, justice, and acceptance. Our mission is to embody these core values in our daily lives by welcoming all, inspiring compassion, nurturing wonder, and serving community. Thank you all who attended the session with Reverend David Pyle and Christine Purcell regarding the options for ministry following Reverend Cooley's time as our interim minister. For those of you who could not attend, the session is available on our YouTube channel. The board wants to hear your input on which ministerial option you think we should pursue and invites you to attend our very special Reflecting with the Board session tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Or you can send us an email at bot@unitytemple.org. At this time, I'd like to invite our music director, Marty Swisher, for a special announcement.
Good morning. I wanted to be sure that you knew that our special musician today is Linda Van Dyke, who is the director of the Unity Temple Bells. She's also a very, very, very busy and active clarinetist, professional clarinetist in the Chicago area, and teaches many, many private students clarinet here in the Oak Park area. I'm really up here to tell you that you have a whole week to get your Spring Music Festival ticket. They're $15. It's this coming Saturday, and we really want you to attend. But we also want you to consider making a donation of $15 if you're unable to attend. The show is going to be fantastic, and we will be selling tickets after the service, and you can get them online all week. Check out our website. Thanks so much.
We are so glad that you are with us today. We hope you find the service inspiring and meaningful. This is my favorite part. I invite you to take a moment to greet one another, both online and in the sanctuary.
We're here. Good morning. Our chalice lighter today is Ian Morrison, who is a member of the transition team. Ian is a self-confessed dog person, and his favorite color is blue. We invite you to light your chalice along with us. We are Unitarian Universalists. This is the church of the open minds, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. We take care of the planet Earth and each other.
The call to worship is by Andrew C. Kennedy. We come to love a church, the traditions, the history, and especially the people associated with it. And through these people, young and old, known and unknown, we reach out, both backward into history and forward into the future, to link together the generations in this imperfect but blessed community of memory and hope. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life's journey, and wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together.
Join me in singing hymn number 389 in the great hymnal, Gathered Here. It's a very brief melody. We're going to sing through 2 times together, and then we're going to split into a 2-part round. And you will begin first, and you will be second, and we'll sing it twice. Just follow me, I got your back. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit joining. Yeah, please stand. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body.
Please join me in the words of our covenant. Love is a doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Good morning. My name is Judy Gallardo Grace, and I am one of your pastoral associates. Each week, we take time to hold each other in our hearts. We share those events in our life of the past week that have moved us in either sorrow or joy. You can contact the pastoral associates at Unity Temple, pastoral associates at unitytemple.org if you have something you would like to share. And we ask that you do that by 8 o'clock on Friday evening. You can also light a candle on the table here if you would just like to light a candle in remembrance, something that maybe you want to keep more private. The following items have been shared with us this week. A longtime member, Alan, generally known as Sparky Marco, will turn 92 this week on April 30th. Linda Mosley's sister, Jackie, will undergo triple bypass this week. She is medically challenged in many ways. Please keep her in your heart. Pastor Dennis Buchkovsky, our congregational friend who serves United Lutheran Church in Oak Park, and that is the church, for those of you who are newer, where we stayed while Unity Temple was closed for renovation. He has entered into radiation treatment for cancer of the brain. We hold him and his wife Linda and their whole congregation in prayer and love at this time. Please keep my nephew and his partner and grandparents and the rest of the family in your hearts this week. They lost their baby at like 24 weeks, Oliver Eugene Oswald. He was born on the 12th, and he died on the 13th, and if you would keep them in your hearts. Violence of all sorts touches the lives of many people, both inside and outside of our community. We hold in our hearts all those whose lives have been impacted by violence as either victims or perpetrators. Let us hold in our hearts each of these joys and sorrows shared, as well as those spoken and unspoken in this community, as we enter together in a moment of prayer and meditation. I came across this poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson the other day. It touched me. I hope it touches you. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded.
You may remain seated.
Anyone who would like to sit up front so they can see the book better and hear better is welcome to come. We'll give you a minute to do that. Hello. Good morning. My name is Vera Dowell, and I used to be a teacher. And I love children's literature. And this book I enjoy because it also has a message. It's called The Rabbit Listened. And I'm impressed by Corey Deerfield, who wrote the book and drew the pictures. One day, Tyler decided to build something new, something special, something amazing. Then, and Tyler was very proud, as he should have been. But then something happened. Things came crashing down. The chicken was the first to notice. Oh, you're right. Oh, cluck, cluck, I'm so sorry. Oh, you want to talk about it? Cluck, cluck, what do you want to say? But Tyler didn't want to talk. So the chicken left. The bear came next. Roar! You must be furious. You must want to shout. Roar! But Tyler didn't want to shout. So the bear left. The elephant knew just what to do. Trump, duh. You just have to remember exactly how everything was before. But Tyler didn't want to remember. So the elephant left. One by one they came. The hyena came laughing. The ostrich, gulp. Let's hide and forget anything happened. The kangaroo, tisk, tisk. Holy mess. We just need to throw it all away. The snake, shh. Let's go mess up somebody else's. But Tyler didn't want to do anything with anybody. So, everyone left. Until Tyler was alone. It was so quiet. Tyler didn't notice the rabbit. But it moved closer and closer until Tyler could feel his warm body. Together, they sat in silence until Tyler said, "Please stay with me." The rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Tyler talked. The rabbit listened as Tyler shouted. The rabbit listened as Tyler remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened as Taylor planned to hide, to throw everything away, to ruin somebody else's. Through it all, the rabbit never talked. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened. Taylor said, "I can do it again. It's going to be amazing." Listening. All right, you are now welcome to go into Unity House together. Thank you.
An interim ministry is a time to set the congregation up for a successful next ministry. This is a time for a congregation to claim and honor the congregation's past and to begin to heal its griefs and conflicts. We also take this opportunity to illuminate the congregation's unique identity, its strengths, its needs, and its challenges. Alban Institute consultant Lauren Mead in The Once and Future Church writes, "Coming to terms with the past means the congregation comes to a place where it is able to look at its past, lay to rest its ghosts, value its heroes and heroines, honor its special story, forgive itself for its faults, and gain energy for a new stage of its journey." We, the transition team, hope that you will participate with us in this journey in the coming weeks. We kick off this process today with this service, where you will hear 4 congregants share where we've come from and what we have come through. After the service, Community Hour will provide an opportunity for you to make suggestions for a timeline of our congregation's history over the last 60 years. And we hope you will sign up for one of our 4 small group meetings in the next few weeks. The small groups will give people time to peruse and reflect upon the timeline and share their reflections with others. Without further ado, let us hear the reflections of 4 Unity Temple members spanning membership time, generations, and experiences.
You know, many people have been in this pulpit as I've been watching from YouTube at home, but there is nothing quite like being here, so I am very happy to be here this morning. Good morning. I am Shirley Lundin. I have a lot of stories to share, but I've only chosen 2 or 3, and they come from my own experiences in my 40-plus years of community here. I've been on our Board of Trustees twice, served as president once, and I've experienced the morphing of this community over those years. I also served as regional director for the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee while living in Indiana, and Roy and I have both served as consultants to the Central Midwest District before the districts changed. Most of us have no idea how a real democracy operates. Maybe being committed UUs is the closest we'll ever come. As Unitarian Universalists, we're pretty good at talking out our differences of opinion to agreement, to understanding, or sometimes to death. This doesn't mean we don't get mad, but we're comfortable with alternate viewpoints. Sometimes we even change our minds and reach common ground. Other times we don't, but that's okay too. In this very small UUA pamphlet entitled, "What Do UUs Believe?" the Reverend David Rankin says this, and this is number 9 out of 10. "We believe in the necessity of the democratic process. Records are open to scrutiny, elections are open to members, and ideas are open to criticism, so people might govern themselves. One of the many examples of working out differences happened during the 1980s. The board and our called minister, Reverend Scott Giles, were experiencing conflict in our relationship with Unity Temple Restoration Foundation, UTRF. They still exist. Our board chose at their meeting to lock out UTRF, and that came as quite a surprise. When word of that decision filtered out to a few of us, we were then called the Unitarian Universalist Church in Oak Park. That few invited other members to stay after Sunday service for a short informational meeting about the board's action. At the meeting, The board was asked to supply mailing labels. So an informational letter about this board action could be sent to members, and the request was refused until the minister's cooler head prevailed. The mailing labels were supplied, so an actual letter was sent to members. As a result, the UTRF's access to Unity Temple was reinstated after the proper people, the members, were informed. Another example is from the 1990s with Reverend J. Deacon, our minister, and John Fry, our president. I was again on the board. That was a year of joyful growth as the UU Church in Oak Park and Beacon Unitarian joined forces. It was a year-long process of sharing ideas, combining action teams, and providing space for two deeply committed sets of democracy-loving people. Many differing ideas worked out peaceably. The merger was a fine example of democracy in action. At the same time, we were picketed by a protest group representing people with disabilities called Let Us In. The group wanted access to our historic building. We, insiders, agreed. It was our responsibility as building owners to make our building accessible. At that time, we had no ramp, no accessible restrooms, no way to reach the sanctuary for people with disabilities. They were right. The conflict came from inside. Some felt sure that Wright, Frank Lloyd Wright, would have objected to having the structure violated with a ramp. I was charged with calling the Taliesin staff, explaining our situation, and asking them what Wright would do. Their answer? Do it. What's the problem? So we began the process of building our first wooden ramp. Thanks, Alan Van Noot. Improving our downstairs restrooms, and that would be Barbara Moline's big issue, and adding the accessible restroom to the church house. We expect our called ministers, paid staff, and elected leadership to remember that we are this place. We expect to be heard. We are a Unitarian Universalist community. We try to practice real democracy here. I felt compelled to add another quote from Nancy Bowen. She said, "My friends, it is our unwillingness to be direct and open in respectful dialogue that makes us think we are fragile. It is potentially the strongest possible community when based upon respectful, open communication, which values the personal within the context of community." Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Ralph Lee. My family and I moved to Oak Park in 1978, and 10 years later, in '88, I joined our church primarily as a result of my involvement in the UTRF conflict that Shirley just shared with us. I needed to become a member in order to legitimately join in the fray. I was really impressed by the high level of involvement that the church had among its members. I want to share with you a few of the many other times that I've also been proud to be a member of this congregation. In the early 1990s, I remember an annual meeting of the congregation when our size was around 150 members. A budget for the next year had been proposed, which included the cost of one half-time director of religious education. Then a motion was made to add an additional $30,000 expenditure to that budget in order to hire a full-time RE director. I made a speech opposing the attempt to spend that kind of money whose source was totally unidentified. However, my advice was ignored, and the larger budget was approved. A full-time RE director was hired, and then over the next year to a year and a half, the growth in membership and the numbers of children in RE totally justified the decision that had been made. I was enormously happy that I'd been wrong. I'm not always happy when somebody. Another time was around 1990 when the congregation voted to invite Reverend J. Deacon to be its minister, which may have been the first time an openly gay minister had been appointed by a church in the Chicago area. I was so proud that we were able to live out our values by calling such an excellent minister. Incidentally, I was one of the vote counters in the meeting, and the vote was 129 in favor and 1 against. Later, 2 different people approached me separately, each saying that they had cast that negative ballot. I have no explanation. And I've also learned that not everything needs an explanation. Then around 1997, when I was a member of the Board of Trustees, the board voted to place a large sign on our north lawn facing Lake Street in support of the passage of the Oak Park Domestic Partnership Ordinance. When that ordinance passed, it made Oak Park the first municipality in Illinois to ensure that village employees in committed same-sex partnerships had the same employment rights as those in committed heterosexual partnerships. I was so proud of the congregation for taking a stand on such an important issue. Finally, over the past 15 or so years, Unity Temple has been one of the most active supporters of the Community Renewal Society. That organization, in my opinion, has been one of the most effective organizations in Illinois at causing positive changes in the policies of important public institutions, such as the Chicago Public Schools and the Cook County Jail. It got results. This is one of the most important ways that our congregation has shown leadership in practicing the proposed 8th principle of Unitarian Universalism even before it was proposed. Now, this is not a reflection, and this is sort of an off-the-record bragging. I happen to be a member of the best church choir in the state of Illinois. And I would say beyond that, but I'm too modest for that. Looking back on the past 30-some-odd years, I believe that we have made far more good decisions than bad ones. I say that because sometimes we forget that we cannot allow our total self-evaluation to be based on what some of us might think is some of our more recent decisions. You have to look at the collection of decisions over time. And I think we've been, in the long haul, doing it right. Sometimes what we thought were wrong turned out to be exactly right. Thank you.
There's a light in the darkness, though the night is black as my skin. There's a light burning bright, showing me the way, but I know where I've been. There's a cry in the distance. It's a voice that comes from deep within. There's a cry asking why. I pray the answer's up ahead, 'cause I know where I've been. There's a road we've been traveling, lost so many on the way, but the riches will be plenty. Worth the price we had to pay. There's a dream in the future. There's a struggle that we have yet to win. And there's pride in my heart, 'cause I know where I'm going. Yes, I do. And I know where I've been. Yeah. There's a road we must travel. We must travel. There's a promise. There is a promise we must make. That we must make. But the riches, oh, but the riches will be plenty. Worth the risk and the chances we take. There's a dream in the future. There's a struggle that we have yet to win. Use that pride in our hearts to lift us up to tomorrow. 'Cause just to sit still would be a sin. Lord knows I know where I've been. I give thanks to my God, 'cause I know where I've
Well, how the heck am I supposed to follow that and Shirley and Ralph? Good morning. For those of you who do not know me, I am Allison Price, and I use she, her pronouns. It does not get easy speaking in front of you all, no matter how many times I've done it in my various roles in this congregation. In my mind's eye, I still see myself as the little kid who grew up here, and I think, why do you all care about what I have to say? But I'm obviously not a kid anymore, and even if I was, our congregation and our faith tradition has always given a voice to everyone, no matter how small they might be. My parents joined Beacon Unitarian Universalist when I was in first grade. That's over 40 years ago now. The Price family jumped right in, with my dad serving on the board, my mom on the flower committee, both of them as part of worship, and my brother and I in the youth programs, including Marwood Unitarian Camp. Then in 1994, when Beacon merged with Unity Universalist Church of Oak Park, I even carried a flag down Lake Street with Nina Brewer Davis during the parade celebrating the union of the two congregations. When I graduated college and came back to the Oak Park area, the congregation of my youth called me to stay involved. My parents were moving away, I wanted to stay connected. And I moved from teaching RE to serving on the membership committee as chair, redesigning the membership program, even serving on the board. I actually volunteered to serve on the board, specifically when we were leaving this building for 2 years and camping out at United Lutheran. I felt my experience of being a member of Beacon, which also rented at another faith's building, would be beneficial as we worked on maintaining community while we were outside of our building. What I wasn't expecting was being charged with leading something called Daring to Dream. Rob Belmar and the board and I ran this process. This was something bigger than I'd ever done here or anywhere. It started in 2015, and it was our process and our opportunity to really consider what was important to Unity Temple. We asked ourselves in small group sessions this question: what possibilities can we create together at Unity Temple for transforming ourselves, our congregation, our neighborhood, and our world? What a question. And what a process this was. Here's some statistics for you. 16 sessions, including one with our youth group, over 150 participants, 12 facilitators, and being Unitarian Universalist, about 5,000 give or take ideas shared. I had the huge job after these sessions to quantify these ideas, to collect the data and see the themes. My out-of-church job is kind of around data management, so my home office was a mess of Post-it notes, flip charts, posters that I entered into spreadsheets, transcribed notes of the meetings, tried to organize all of these great ideas. I didn't realize how many times I'd have to stop and tear up and just outright cry when I was reading how people had UTUUC transform them. Your experiences and visions were so heartfelt, so inspiring. It was overwhelming. Here are some more stats for you. The top word shared, obviously, was transformational. The top 5 values shared were community, connection, beauty, nature, and music. The top 5 things that transformed us were community, congregation, kids, music, and service. Themes from our 10-year in the future included social justice and a community center. Look at all what's happened with Faith in Action and 1019 since these meetings happened. But more importantly, our board then took all of this great data and thoughts shared, and we worked on designing the following. See if these sound familiar. Values: connection, transformation, justice, and acceptance. Mission: welcoming all, inspiring compassion, nurturing wonder, and serving community. And our congregation voted on these. And then we follow those up with goals. And here's the kicker, folks. We did this when we were out of this building for 2 years, way longer than the 15 months that we thought we'd be out. We took a time that could have been terrible for us, and we came out stronger. I'm going to say that again. We took a time that could have been terrible for us and came out stronger. I've seen what this congregation can do in my various roles, and as we look to the future, I have no doubt that we can do great things again. As Reverend Gage said in a sermon a few weeks ago, this place has good bones. We can make it beautiful. Or we dared to dream once, we can do it again. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ben. I go by they, them pronouns, and I speak to you as a prestigious lifelong member of Unity Temple, which I would make a joke of not being that long compared to some, but I realize I have been with this congregation for almost 20 years, which is insane to me. Unitarian Universalism and this congregation has shaped me in the 18 years I've been a part of it through the many mediums our church offers its youth. For the longest time, I wasn't a fan of religious education. I spoke on this in my 9th grade credo a few years ago, but for a while, my undeveloped mind focused solely on getting to coffee hour in time for the good snacks, and not on what we were learning in class. This changed, not to the extent that I stopped trying to get to coffee hour early, in 7th grade when our topic of education was social justice and injustice. Having such a broad and important topic being taught to me in 7th grade was a big turning point in how I viewed church. Prior to religious education, I hadn't much awareness or understanding of the prevalence of injustice and the importance of practicing justice. 7th grade, as it is for many, was a major eye-opener for me. In terms of education, I love telling people who don't know me well enough to know of Unity Temple that I learned about sex at my church, because it's a hilarious time watching their expressions as they hear that without context. Having not only sex and sexual health, but consent, relationships, and gender/sexual identity being explained to me in comfortable detail helped to mold me into someone who is very open to talk about things society would otherwise pose as weird and stigmatized. I would really describe church as magical. It is love, it is acceptance, it is listening, but because it is all of these things, it is magical. The magic showed itself to me the year I went to Marwood, a week-long summer camp for UU youths that has participants fed in from churches all over the Midwest. I'd always been a pretty self-conscious kid and hadn't been met yet with unconditional love outside of my family. You can imagine my shock when I showed up at Marwood, a place I was initially reluctant to go, met with both kids yelling obscenities as well as kids hugging and showing absolute trust and honesty. Really a bit of a, as well as, Marwood taught me that it is okay to be honest, because those who really love you and want to be friends with you will take that honesty head on and hug it for all it is worth. It was hard aging out of Marwood. Over my 4 years, I had learned that Marwood is not a place, it is a feeling, and it goes by many names. Above all, it goes by love. To truly love others, to truly care about them, and feel yourself, that is Marwood. I found that sense of Marwood on a more regular scale in youth group. I had been worried that I wouldn't be able to be fully honest when doing check-in because I didn't know everybody, and my dad was a counselor. But I found that the ones I got extremely close to at Marwood weren't the only people I could be close with, they were just the first. Through youth group, I was able to channel that same level of honesty, compassion, and love on a more daily basis in and out of church. The honesty I have found in church has helped me grow as an individual. Knowing there are those who love me for who I am has given me the courage to come out as non-binary and pansexual, share openly my struggles with anxiety and depression, and lean more into the things that I really enjoy, like theater and geeking out over Harry Potter. In a few weeks, I will be bridging from the youth group and will ceremonially become an adult. I won't be able to come to church as often as I'm heading off to college, and I won't be able to see my friends in youth group or members of the congregation as often as I do now. What I do know is that I've learned a lot from church, and it has turned me into who I am today. I've made a myriad of relationships. I have experienced a lot in my almost 2 decades here. What I'm always bewildered at is the depth of connection and the resonance with others that I am met with in any event or activity through Unity Temple. Whether it be through what I've already mentioned, being a summer RE youth leader, or even watching Young Frankenstein in the bank's backyard, Unity Temple is filled with interconnectedness and community and opportunities for being heard. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Erin Mckinney, and I'm a member of Unity Temple. Each week, Unity Temple gives our Sunday offering to an organization that aligns with our Unitarian Universalist values and is committed to bringing compassion, equity, and justice to the world. This week, our offering goes to the Young Center. Headquartered in Chicago, the Young Center advocates for the welfare of unaccompanied immigrant children in government custody. Young Center staff, including attorneys and master's level social workers, work behind the scenes to gather information about each child's case and develop best interest recommendations grounded in domestic and international law. Recommendations are submitted to immigration judges, asylum officers, and attorneys. For the past 5 years, I have served as a child advocate for various teenagers in the program, building relationships with each of them, including playing games, practicing English, and listening to their educational and professional aspirations. Many are able to reunite with family members, become part of a foster family, and integrate into the public school system. The Young Center's belief in children's rights to health, family integrity, liberty, development, and identity parallel many of our Unitarian Universalism principles. I hope you will join me in supporting the Young Center. You may donate by placing cash or checks in the collection baskets that are being passed around. If you're sitting in the back row, you'll find the basket stored under the pew. You can also give by sending a check to the Unity Temple office with the Young Center in the memo line, or by following the instructions on your screen. May what you give bring you joy.
Rise and join me in singing hymn number 1017 in the teal hymnal, "We Are Building a New Way." We are building a new way. Come on. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. Come on, let me hear you. Come on. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed every need. My favorite one. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry. Do that again. Peace and freedom.
Indeed, together we are building a new way, a new chapter in the life of the congregation. We have weathered much together and built something beautiful, something that endures through conflict, through transition, through our own individual tenures. In the coming weeks and months, let us reflect upon, honor, and celebrate what we have come through, who we are today, and where we are going. Blessed be.
Please join me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.